when it's time to give kudos, that's what I'm gonna do. So shout out to this African woman for giving praise to FBA and thanking us and saying that we have the right to be angry at what's going on right now.
Us immigrants, not all of us, but a lot of us, seem to forget, or maybe they just don't know. But if you have been living in this country long enough, you should know that. The reason why we're here, the reason why we are allowed to be here, is because of the work Black Americans did. Because of the sacrifices they did. Because all the fights they had to fight in order for us, for them, because they didn't do it for us, they did it for themselves, and it's right. But today we are enjoying the fruit of their labor. And we should not forget that. I'm an immigrant. And yes, in my community, or in an immigrant community, and nobody can say otherwise, is a lot of disrespect for African American. It's a lot of it. I have heard it. And I have to admit that when I first came, I was also ignorant of their history. But after being in this country, for the amount of time I have been here, if I act like I don't know that, it means that I'm willingly demeaning them. They are mad. And you know what immigrants should do right now? We should not be arguing with them. We should be quiet and listen. Listen to what they're saying. Listen. No. It is not about us. It's about how they feel. It's about the experience. And guys, they are right. Many immigrant community call them lazy. They're not lazy. They even say they don't have a culture, and that's an insult. Of course they have a culture. Of course they do. In the music, in the food, in the way they live their life, in the way they dress. They have a culture, and by the way, a culture that is a leader in many ways. Our children in Africa dress like Black children. Children in Asia dress like Black children. Children in Latin America, in Europe. So please stop saying, and it's not only limited to clothing. It's in music, it's in history, it's in literature, it's in science. The immigrant community need to stop demeaning and disrespecting Black American. They are mad, and they have all the rights to be mad. Now, if my immigrant community or my African community want to come after me for what I say, that is on you. I don't care. Because the truth is the truth. And we need to admit where we're coming short. You're going to come to people's house and you want to look down at them? You want to disrespect them? Yes, not all Africans. Yes, not all Latino. Yes, not all blah, blah, blah. Or Asian blah, blah, blah. But enough to make a lot of noise. But enough for them to be mad. Rightfully so. We need to be quiet now and listen to what they have to tell us. No doubting the experience. No undermining the experience. No forgetting the accomplishments. We need to stop that. We need to stop, particularly the African community. You want to say they are our brother and sister and this is how you're treating them? Not everybody, but a lot of us do. We look down. We criticize them. We do it and we should not deny it. As a community, we do it. And we need to stop. Unity would be great. We all want unity. But unity without respect is impossible. Unity without recognizing the accomplishments of part of the group is impossible.
Hi lovelies, my name is Olivia and welcome back again to the channel. Hope you guys are doing okay because I am doing wonderfully well. Okay, so guys, today's episode we're going to talk about I'm going to show you guys a clip actually of people who are actually thanking those who helped them. Now let me break it down for you. I have some of the Africans who are appreciating black people, of course, for the opportunity they've given them. See, let me tell you something. If you leave your country to another person's country and then you were favored in that country, like you had lots of opportunities, good one in that country, you need to come out and appreciate them. Yes, because doing that it shows that you are grateful. Okay, because I know most of my Nigerian people, they've all traveled abroad. And then I can tell you that majority of them are doing very well. They are doing fantastically well. Okay. So if America didn't favor them, they won't still be there. Right? So when I see Africans or immigrants appreciating what black people have done for them, I feel overwhelmed and like I feel happy saying that. Okay. So let me not take much of your time. This is actually what this episode today is going to be all about. All right. Please, if you found this video very interesting, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, Support the channel by subscribing to the channel and still let me know what you think in the comment section, okay? So please, lovelies, let's dive into the video.
If it wasn't for Black Americans, I, as an African person, wouldn't have the opportunities that I have today in America. So I keep seeing a lot of these comments about how Black Americans relate to my statement about Nigerians don't actually care about Nigerians. They only care about being wealthy to show off to underprivileged Nigerians. That's not how Black Americans operate. Like, I grew up in Nigeria and Black America. The one thing I will tell you about Black Americans, you see how they're into government. They build up their intellect to get into government to try to do better and support their communities, and they fight to support their communities. If you look at how far in 400 years, 500 years, what African Americans have done, and the level of they made life, it's not completely equal, but Black Americans have done a good job of fighting for the rights of their fellow Black Americans to have a better life in America. If it wasn't for Black Americans, I, as an African person, wouldn't have the opportunities that I have today in America. If it wasn't for Black Americans, I wouldn't have the opportunities I have today. So I can't really say that, because Black Americans may have their issues, but they have a better sense of community than Africans. I can say for Nigerians, they have a better sense of community, and they enjoy communal, like making sure, I'm not saying that they do it perfectly, but you can tell that they put up a fight for their community. They put up a fight for their community more than Nigerians. Sorry, it hurts, but that's the truth.
Black people saved me. And it's not some tagline. I was born on the streets of South Korea. I begged for money every day, door to door. I got taken from my biological family, put in a home, adopted or sold to an American family that had really great intentions. Really great intentions. But they were ill prepared, and the system was just messed up. And life didn't really become easier, it became tougher. But Black people saved me. Their culture, their music, their resilience. And one day, I hope everyone sees the beauty.
The Black community literally saved my physical life multiple times when I was growing up. But I'm going to tell you about a time when I was 7. When I was a kid, my grandparents took my brother and I to a water park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. My brother was 3. He's also a redhead. And when I was a kid, you know, I'm older now, so my hair's got some white in it and stuff. But when I was a kid, and my features are all bleach blonde. These are just kind of remnants from Sunday when I filled them in. Anyway, my brother and I were full on redhead, freckles, the whole 9 yards. Yes, we endured all the horrible, hateful things that y'all have heard over the past week or so that people feel like it's okay to say to redheads. And also, we moved almost every year. New school almost every year. New set of questions almost every year. So, anyway, my grandparents took us to this water park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And back then, you had to, I'm in my 30s, but back then, you had to pay for the inner tubes at this water park to use them in the wave pool. And my grandparents dropped my brother and I off, again, 3 and 7, dropped us off at the wave pool and said they would be back. They were going to go try to find some free inner tubes from somebody who was done using them, so they didn't have to pay for them. This was a Saturday. It was packed. I mean, I'd grown up by the beach, so I went to the beach a bunch of times, so I thought, the wave pool is probably not any different than beach waves. I'm probably okay. So I swim out, and I swim pretty close to the deep end. And the waves turn on, and I find out how wrong I am about the power of these wave pools. They're very dangerous, by the way. And I got trapped underneath the sea of inner tubes. Now, like I said, I'm in my 30s, and this was when I was 7, and this is in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So it just kind of seemed like all the white people were in one section, and the Black community was an entirely different section of the wave pool. And I didn't pay any attention to where I was, but I was kind of like in where those two groups would meet. I got trapped, and I remember trying to bob against the waves. Like I would go up and they would go down, and trying to break through so I could breathe. And I could not break through the sea of legs and inner tubes, because every time I would come up, somebody thought I was trying to steal their inner tube. They saw me drowning and would not pull me up because they thought I was trying to steal their inner tubes. I felt my lungs being crushed. I remember my hearing going out. I remember looking at the sun, and I remember feeling total peace. And then I passed out. Next thing I know, I'm being frantically pulled up on by a kid. I had drifted over to the section of the pool where the Black community was largely swimming. Frantically pulled up by a student who had to have been maybe 10, 11 tops. And she was trying to get her friend to help pull me up. And she was saying, "Hold on, hold on, hold on." She was screaming. And she pulled me up and she gave me to her chaperone, who was a wonderful Black woman. And I'm a 7-year-old kid, so I'm not a baby, but she put me on her hip and she walked me to the shore and laid me down, and I passed out again. Next thing I know, I am resuscitated and I'm surrounded by my grandparents, the EMTs, and the entire school trip that was there, the entire community. I have never forgotten that. And I've gone through life, I've lived in a lot of different places, I've lived in a lot of different cultures, and every time, the Black community were the ones that took me in and cared for me and protected me, taught me, loved me, treated me well. I've been saying this. I know this is a trend on TikTok, but I know I've been saying this almost my whole life. I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Thank God for another day. Good morning, friends. How are you? I am so happy today because this is a purpose for me to see people being healed, to see people on the healing process. I'm not expecting people to be healed overnight. I'm not expecting people to forgive and forget overnight, but on the path to healing. And I'm so happy. I'm just grateful. You know, when I walk on the American soil, do you know what I'm thinking about now? I'm walking on blood. I'm walking on sweat. I'm walking on somebody's tears. I'm working on, when I walk, I'm walking on somebody's hope, somebody who had waited, somebody who had dreamed, the sweat of the ancestors. And it's just very humbling. You know, I am admiring their tenacity, their consistency in the midst of pain. And I'm just grateful. I have a new look as an African immigrant. I have a new look of things. And I promised, not a promise, but I told you guys I'm going to spread awareness. I'm going to start telling my fellow Africans that please don't use any derogatory words to describe the people we met in this land. Put some respect on it, regardless of where they are at. Because what they are, where they are at now, some of them, is because of generations upon generations upon generations of trauma. In fact, some of them are doing excellently well. Because some people would have been wiped out with what they passed through. They are still moving. They are still building America. They are still, you know, trying in spite of the odds, still paving the way for others who they don't even know. So that's part of the awareness I'm going to spread. I'm going to try to also visit the African American museums. I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to also try to do that when I go to Ghana or other African countries. I want to spread awareness. All right, guys, let me go. Bye-bye.
This video is specifically for my Black American family. Yes, guys, I appreciate you all. I appreciate you guys for the love, for your support, for your kind words, for the likes, for everything. You guys are awesome. For supporting me during this time. I really appreciate you all. In fact, you guys are the best. Let's keep the love going, you know. Let's continue to be in good things. Remember, together we stand. I just appreciate you guys for always supporting my videos, for always liking it, for your kind ways. A lot of you have beautiful souls. If there's anything I've come to realize, is that there are good people out there, and a lot of you are good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you guys, thank you. You all have a nice day and keep watching my videos.
You see, they sit and they talk about black neighborhoods as if they are not the reason that these neighborhoods are poor and below the poverty level and are full of crimes and different things like that. They don't talk about the role that they played in that. You see, when black people tried to strive and build their own communities and do different things, you see, they were a threat, so they had to get rid of it. You know, a lot of these people have never even left their cities. They don't know what it's like to be in a great environment because they don't have the resources, they don't have the money to get away. So when you are raised around things like that, what do you think you're going to do? People don't see the bigger picture of anything. They just automatically think negatively. But also, they don't talk about the fact that black people are the reason why they have generational wealth. Yeah, when they were putting slaves in the field and having them work for free, they were getting rich from us. Why are you not talking about that? Imagine if you never would have stole slaves, if you never would have stole land, what you would really have to pass down to generation after generation after generation. Do you really even think like that? Or you just go with what you've heard or what your neighbor told you?
If it wasn't for black women, black Americans, I wouldn't have had the strength to leave my marriage and to be able to stand here before you guys, make this video, whatever. And the reason why I bring that up is I was raised in Nigeria and then I moved to America. And if it's not the fact that if I talk in my African accent or Ngunana Sibo, you wouldn't know that I'm African, right? The amount of racism I've experienced when people don't know that I'm African, it really shows me the kind of racism black Americans really, really go through in the world. In the world. Like when I land in Nigeria, and everyone thinks I'm Akata, right? And then the way they act towards me before I have to be like, my guy, I be African baby, relax yourself. The way that Africans chase white validation and disrespect the people who gave them life, it makes me so angry. And every time I hear Africans talk shit about black Americans, I literally want to remove their teeth, their gums. You guys are not better than black Americans. Look at your countries. Your countries are shit. That's the real fact. Black Americans are doing better than Africans. That's the real facts. You guys just love to use what they've built to put down the very people that gave you a platform. You come to America, you run to America to achieve success and gain wealth. Why not do it in your country if you guys are so much better than black Americans? Why are you coming to America? Why are you coming to America? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.